about the delay in today's show, the art of doing a live show. We're having technical difficulties as always, but we are here. I'm Jay Lazarus Hawk.
I'm Jamie Hall.
We are Rising Fire Productions. Today's guest with us is Antoine Dandridge,
Hello, how are you?
the founder and CEO of Square Roots Media. Antoine, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came to Memphis and started Square Roots?
Wow, well, first of all, I love the name CEO. I've never been called it before. I think the first time I've really been English, so thank you for that.
It is your type.
The way that, well, actually, I was born and raised in Memphis, so I'm a true Memphis. And I did get a chance to leave. Went to college in Nashville, Tennessee State, majored in communications. Came back, home, intern. First movie, off the line. The second movie was I was a production assistant, and then I got, kind of game was in my own mind. I said, okay, I want to try moving out to LA. Moved out there, worked for a company called Central Casting, cast several TV shows. I think we had 60% of the market at the time. Okay. And had fun doing that. Got a chance to do a reality show, spec about me working at Central Casting, which I thought was really cool. And that was kind of what opened my mind to the whole, reality TV versus film versus theater type of deal. And ended up back home from LA, unfortunately, due to the writer's strike. I was expected to go overseas and work on a project with a well-known producer. And when that fell through, it was like the second time I had a project that dropped. And I was like, maybe this could be leading to nowhere. And it scared me. So my thing was like, maybe I should find something else to do. So I went back to school, got an MBA. My goal was to just move up with the company and just, work a 9 to 5, get a paycheck, pay my bills, get health insurance, and obviously retire.
So what changed for you?
What changed for me? I've always been very connected with the environment. I feel like anything you should be doing in your life, I feel like your environment will speak to you, Mm-hmm. And it was people, just who kind of always felt that I had something special or some type of a gift. Because I never look at, really media or entertainment as a gift. I can do this for free, which is the sad part.
Right.
Because I would go broke trying.
Well, as many of us, especially here in town in Memphis, know very well about going broke doing this for free.
Exactly. So now, I definitely realized about a little over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, that if I'm going to have some type of sustainability in life, and if I'm going to if I want to live and do something that I love every day, I'm going to have to figure out how to monetize it. And that was where the whole MBA thing came into play. And just learning that I'm going to have to get out and socialize, meet new people. And that was kind of, for some weird reason, how I ended up meeting you and Jamie.
Okay, now, on that, I met you in the audition room.
Yes.
At the Indie Acting Studio in Bartlett, the one Forrest had before his recent move. And you came in to audition for Glowing, which was one of Forrest Pruitt's Dark Corners episodes. And I remember you walked in and we kind of introduced ourselves and got to talking, and I think it probably took us 20 minutes to even get you into the audition room.
Right.
Because I had already made the decision that I liked this actor. I wanted this actor in the project somewhere. It was the energy, the enthusiasm, the ambition you showed.
Thank you.
And of course, we ran your audition, and that was fantastic as well. I liked what I got out of that. And then I believe you met Jamie on set for the first time.
Yes, I did.
So, what was it like walking in? I mean, we had you in a desolate, dirty, old, run-down, shut-down, asbestos-ridden old brewery downtown, full of dust, everything in the air. Mm-hmm. What did you think of the whole production when you walked in, the people you saw there, and what you saw being done? How did that affect you? Because as you told me before we went live, that was really the beginning of your work here in Memphis again.
You created a monster is what you did. Like I went home and I took to the diary. You actually mentioned something before that, because even with the audition, as I mentioned earlier, how your environment speaks to you, I still don't know who that was or how my information got to someone who inboxed me on Facebook about coming to that audition.
I actually would suspect that was Forrest Pruitt. He did do a lot of research trying to find appropriate actors and people that might be open to being a part of that production, because to his credit, of all of the Dark Corners things he had showed me, this was my favorite. I really, really liked this idea.
Right.
And I had told him that when we did this, we really, really want to make sure we get it right. We want the right personalities playing off of each other. And I would almost guarantee, because I know I didn't reach out to you. I hadn't heard of you yet. Yeah. He told me you were coming in. So I suspect he had done that.
That was so funny to me, because honestly, I remember, like, I was kind of like in a whole prayer type of meditative state before that. And I was like, you know, just being open to what the universe has. And I swear to God, when I saw that email, I was like, oh, maybe there's some truth to this whole universe thing and praying. And I do believe in high things. So it was very important to think outside myself or feel like something came outside of myself. So the process from the beginning to actually getting to the set the day that I actually met you guys was just magical. And what I loved about it was just the professionalism. You know, having, you know, first movie being, you know, a Walk the Line, second movie being a Black Snake Moan, you know, you do something independent, you still kind of look for certain things.
Oh, yeah.
And just to actually see the culture of how it was all ran and managed, and just the professionalism from the actors, the support from everyone from cast to crew, it was amazing. It was really amazing.
Because the first night that we actually all got on set, things were just a list. They were just out there. Right. I mean, you know, we didn't know. We knew how we wanted to set everything up, but it was a time period before we got to everybody. And at that one time, you know, we probably had 15, 20 people on, you know, on the first night.
That's what I remember. Like a Friday night?
Yeah, it was a Friday night.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people there, so, you know, everybody running back and forth and us still being able to kind of control the situation was top notch for everybody.
But that came down to, I mean, that's one of the key ingredients of having the right people.
Yeah.
Making sure we had the right personalities, because we knew we had, you know, what, 5, 7 gang members. We had 3, 4 of the gang members' girlfriends. We had, you know, I think he was 12-year-old boy on set. So we had to be careful of how we filmed all these things. And
I remember that.
I thought it was funny that the other day you, when we were discussing recollecting this situation, you brought up the fact that I kept going to his mother, who was on set, and asking, is everything okay? Is this okay that we film it like this? Is your son secure? Do you feel safe? And things like that. And that's second nature to me, so it doesn't really strike me that that would make such an impression. And then when you brought it up the other day, it really...
You know I was looking, did you?
Well, it reinforced the fact that I knew we had the right people on set. Because the reason you would have known that is because you would have been looking for that.
Right.
How are they treating an actor? How are they treating their actress? How are they treating the child actor?
Absolutely.
Those are things you were looking for. And that says something about you as a person, as a professional, but it also says something about the quality of people that were put together on that set. I mean, we had you, we had Travis Stone, we had Darius Newsom, and
LaPrincess.
We had
is it LaPrincess? I want to make sure I'm saying his name right.
LaPriest.
LaPriest,
DeMarco, and I'm probably getting it all wrong. Postlethwaite, but all of these people had such an incredible spirit, such a desire to make that project work. You mentioned that it kind of inspired you.
It did.
And, you know, one of the biggest things that came out of that experience for me, of course, is this partnership. Right. That was the first thing that Jamie and I truly worked on together. That's where...
I guessed that. I thought y'all been working together for years.
Well, you know, a lot of people said that. A lot of people...
that's why it was such an impact, that impression on me, that I was able to communicate with him, and it went as smooth as it did, as easily as it did. No one on that set knew that we had just met.
Wow.
We'd met before, you know, in passing.
I mean, as far as a working relationship.
Yeah. Excuse me. As far as a working relationship, you know, I was called in one night by I believe it was Forrest, and he gave me the script, and I was going back home to Florida for a couple of weeks to decompress for a little while, and I read the script. I was like, man, this is pretty good. And then I was told that me and Lazarus was going to be the one, so we met up at the studio and started talking about everything, and, you know, we got on set, and everything just kind of click together. I mean, you know, you're always going to have your rough moments on a set and everything. Yeah, with any production, you're always going to have rough moments. And
it was, the pre-production on it was very, very quickly put together because we had a date, an availability date on our location and all of our cast and everything else. We'd locked our dates. And Forrest had Rare Find going on at the same time, another episode in the series. And he was stretched. He was doing pre-production on both of those things and was very stretched. So, I mean, you remember day one. Yeah. Before we had cameras rolling, Jamie and I were both kind of pulling our hair out because we hadn't finished putting the set together. So it was all coming together very quickly. But in that time, in such a quick production, we were able to put it all together because we had that cast. We had a group of people that were very supportive
and patient.
And when things did arrive, I noticed you were one of them. A number of the cast members, without even being asked, stepped up and started helping put things into place and started helping moving things around so we could actually get rolling. And, you know, for us, that's the kind of set we have tried to have every time since then. As we said to you the other night in our conversation privately, every one of our sets is a family. It's a family experience. It's a reunion for some and an introduction for others, but it's always a welcoming. And we like to come together like that. So I'm very excited that you were able to come to that on our first connection, feel that early on, and become a part of that and become inspired by that. Now, that was a bit part in a small local production. Where have you taken it from there? Because I know you had one idea of what you were doing, which is why you got your MBA. But I also know where that has taken you. So why don't we discuss kind of some of the steps that happened after Glowing and where you've gone from there?
Clearly after Glowing, I really could not sleep for many nights after.
You wasn't the only one.
I could not sleep for many nights. You know, I think what started happening was, you know, I guess when you talk about your life and your career, like you have to be, I don't know, it made me feel like I was sleeping with the enemy, going to my job every single day, knowing that I wasn't making progressive steps to get towards something that I really wanted to do.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir there, brother. I'm telling you now.
So you know that feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I deal with that every day. Wow. You know, so you definitely, you hit the nail on the head there.
That's exactly how I felt. I was sleeping with the enemy. So clearly, I remember at my job, when I first started at my current employer, my manager gave me a diary. She was like, you should write a lot because you have a lot to say. Well, I realized my life is not that exciting, so I probably would never journal my life. So I turned it to a business journal. And I wrote out some ideas, and one of the ideas that came out of it was an idea for a media company. And I found out in order to really encompass everything that I want to do, you know, there's a niche for it called lifestyle marketing. And basically I was able to marry my passion for media, entertainment, acting, and all those different things to business that I had just learned and still learning, you know, is still learning. And pretty much created sort of a consulting type of firm because I give away so many great ideas for free that I have to watch myself. So I have to learn to like, okay, how do I do this so I can do this all day? Because this is fun to me, you know? And that was how Square Roots Media became involved. Of course, my partner is my sister, Valencia Nelson, but you got a chance to meet her both. You met her a couple days ago, and she was very impressed, by the way, with you guys.
That's great.
She will be. I mean, like, duh.
Well, the feeling was mutual.
Yeah, it was.
I really liked her as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, being kin to you, I can't imagine too much difference. And you made an immediate impression. So.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And that was just kind of, that was what ignited. I was like, so what do you do with this? And I went and sat down with a good friend of mine that I would talk to about business things, and I knew he has a production company and a media company, and he was interested in an idea that I had, and that idea turned out to be something called I Am Soul, which is a documentary about Memphis soul artists. And that's where we are right now. We're obviously trying to finalize some type of production and get that thing complete, and the goal of it is to festival it into the American Black Film Festival in Miami.
So how, I mean, you know, if we, excuse me, if we cross the line on anything and you can't talk about something, just say, hey, I can't really talk about that right now, because, so how far are y'all into that? Is it completed? Or are you working in post-production? Do you have some more things that you have to film on?
I believe it's, to me, I think it's completed. I think that's kind of where we are. We really don't. There's been some talk about obviously some more filming, but I personally don't think it needed any more filming. I just think it should be edited and be done and go to some type of festival. Because maybe it's just my own ambition. I just want to see it.
Right.
Now, is this a feature-length documentary?
Yeah, from what I understand, I think we have hours and hours of footage, but I think the goal is to do a 60-minute documentary.
60 minute?
Yeah.
So,
And now, when you originally conceived of this, what did you expect it to be? Did you expect it to be?
I expected it to be something like really simple, like maybe a 30-minute
well,
project.
I mean, we've talked about it several times before on a couple of different things, and documentaries are one of the, I mean, in my opinion, I've never done one, but sitting back and thinking about one is one of the hardest productions to do, in my opinion.
To me, it would be a much harder production. There's so much more intensive study that you have to do.
Research
for
and
accuracy
everything,
on your research. Whereas in a story, you get to manipulate and you get to kind of trick your audience and cheat things. But what I want to do now is, since you brought up business, I want to let people out there know that Rising Fire isn't just about films.
Right.
We are also looking at what film and the film industry does in business. And we have done some work with some businesses. So we're going to cut away here for a minute, and we're going to show the Rising Fire demo reel that we've been putting together and using to get corporate work and commercial work for our business as well. And we'll come back after that in just a few minutes.
All right.
Hi, I'm Sherry Henley, founder of Business Over Coffee International. You are watching Business Over Coffee, and we are so happy to be here with you today, along with the guest and the panelists on the show.
And I'll give you another example. I had changed my profile on Facebook recently this week, and it said married. It had like 10 or 12 options on there. Single, married. One of them was complicated, and I thought well, shoot, I'm going to check that. My daughter immediately calls me and says, "What's up with this, Mom?"
A new book is always exciting to its author, of course, especially when it's a kind of continuation or the next step on a lifetime almost of work. And this one about emergence Christianity is a great joy and delight to me. Obviously one can do, and I have, analysis of the times in which we are, of the history of the times.
Hunter Bronner, Stephen Bradley, Trey Spann split to the left. Spann is in the slot. Bradley on the outside. Riley takes a snap on first down, drops the pass looking left, steps up into it. He's got Trey Spann over the middle. Spann breaks the tackle to the 40. Spann to the 50. Trey Spann still on his feet to the 45-40. Pushed out of bounds inside the 40-yard line of Tupelo. 43 seconds on the clock.
put your hand on this chart right here in the center. Well, the way we're going to do your skin tones, we're going to match the skin, the eye color, and the hair color. What we're going to do is we're going to get right up in here. We've got to go past the beard line and get to where we have some real pure skin tones. When we do that, you go really red. And when we do this, you stay the same tone.
I went and volunteered to go into the United States Navy, travel abroad, over halfway around the world, and after seeing other foreign countries, I realized how blessed I was to be from a city such as Memphis.
After graduating with my bachelor's degree, I was still in need of specialized training and education in order to transition into the assisted living industry. Through exceptional networking and career services offered by the Healthcare Educational Institute, I was able to land me a lead management position at a reputable facility.
Stay in touch, Christian.
Okay,
Please.
I'll be around.
All right.
We're back? Yes. All right, welcome back. Sorry about the little delay there. We were working out some microphone issues. Hopefully you'll be able to hear Mr. Dandridge a little bit better now. Right before we cut away, I talked about the fact that, or you had brought up the business side of things, and Rising Fire, of course, is stepping out into the business world and trying to bring our artistic flair and our ability to do things on very low budgets and the things that we've learned by doing no budget and low budget cinema to productions for businesses to help businesses improve their visual image, and predominantly the smaller business so they can compete with the corporate world. You, of course, with Square Roots and a Media, are doing something very similar. Now, of course, you've got the I Am Soul that you're working out. What other projects do you have in the works, and what is it you're trying to do with Square Roots, and how would that affect, let's say, us as a local cinema team, or any other of the filmmakers in town with what it is you're doing?
That's a wonderful question. I'm so glad you asked that, because what Square Roots Media would be, obviously, in your case, I think we would have a great strategic partnership alliance. And my big thing I tell anyone, when you're talking about the entertainment business, it takes a village to raise a child, and the child being the actual products and, the actual industry in a sense. I mean, when you go to an LA or New York, I mean, it's everything from politics to the banks, how you finance, to the culture of the community, and all those different things. There's no way that one company can do so many things by themselves. Everyone kind of needs somebody. And there is a big table that we can all eat at, if we all work together to make that happen. So I think what Square Roots do well is that we can identify needs or niches in the market, and we can definitely research ways to make those things grow and to bring, obviously, revenue, attention, following, and things that we need to sustain as business people. That was something that I noticed that was missing a long time ago. And I think one thing that is going to be very exciting to me about it is that I'm going to get an opportunity to help not only myself, but everyone that I know that are great at what they do here and who have wonderful ideas, bring them to life. Our motto is that we drive dreams to the next level. And so if your dream is already one place, our goal is to take it a step higher. And obviously, I mean, I don't ever want to proclaim that we're going to take it so high that it'll go past the sky. But I mean, that's a goal that we have. That's what we want to do. We want to be that company.
Okay. Yeah. Now, how would a small independent filmmaker, let's say, I mean, with us, we actually have a business now.
Right.
So we can approach you as an entity.
Right.
But how would maybe an independent who isn't a business yet, how would they benefit from contacting you? What kinds of things could you help them learn? Because as you know, once you've made a product, from there, everything you do with it is a business act.
Absolutely.
It's no longer about the art.
Absolutely.
It's now a business transaction every step of the way. And, I mean, is that why we don't see a lot of filmmakers getting their work out there?
Absolutely.
Is that why we don't see people actually taking a chance and trying to create revenue for themselves in this industry.
Absolutely.
And how could you maybe help them with that?
Well, I think the first thing with me is I would help them recognize that the glass is definitely half full. You know, I think the first mistake a lot of new businesses make is that everything is half empty, or everything is sometimes, or maybe even being limited by their own vision sometimes, which is something that I dealt with a lot as a business person. I think something that, you know, sometimes you make those different type of consults to help people realize that maybe you offer too many services, or maybe we need to narrow the services. Really just kind of finding their best niche for that moment. It depends on where you are and where you want to be within a certain amount of time. Again, it's definitely something that we're still learning and growing. But what I like about it is that it's nothing but opportunity here, because it's, I mean, honestly, out of the industry that you've experienced, even here in Memphis, how many people are really living full-time off of doing this type of a business? So, I mean, that's how much opportunity we have, is that gap between I work a job during the day to do this to I can be doing this full-time.
To this is the job.
Exactly. So I think that's just the gap. The first thing you do is, if you have a great idea and you really want to figure out how to get something started. A lot of people don't know the basics. You and I talked about that. You know, when I first started Square Roots, I wanted to just be a company that just pitched ideas to network. Well, when I thought about staying in Memphis, I found out it would be something more different. It would be something way more different. Actually, I would have to produce it. Then I have to probably create it. Then I have to pull together a production team to help actually carry out the physical production. And then you have to, I mean, so it turns into, when we say consulting to the smallest degree, that's exactly what we mean. And even having to make sure, I think our biggest hurdle would be having new business to understand what it takes to get involved, and that it's not cheap.
Right.
You know, it costs money and it takes a lot of time. You know, you guys know, every time I talk to you, or you know, or Marcus behind the camera over there, that, you know, you're always up overnight doing something to be ready to do something for tomorrow. And I think the average person that will utilize our service, they don't understand that we stay up all night to do this. And then we go and work somewhere else to eat, so that we can continue to help them help themselves.
A lot of people just think that, you know, even with the smallest commercials, you know, just a small, let's say it's tax season, you know, a small car lot service. You know, a lot of people, even the business owners, think that it's just, okay, we're going to hire a guy to come out, set up a camera, we're going to stand in front of a camera.
Absolutely.
But, you know, when I say a lot of people, a lot of businesses have that view.
Yes.
Why do we have to pay you X amount of dollars for you to just come out here, set up a camera, maybe hold a microphone in front of me, you know, and tell me the camera's rolling?
Right.
There's a lot more to that in this industry than a lot of people don't know. It's, you know, what kind of shots you're going to do, what kind of day is it going to be outside, so we're going to need this kind of lighting, or what's it going to be inside, we're going to need this kind of sound, you know, so it's not so echoey and, you know, so reverb. A lot of people don't understand that. So what yours is more of a place to where you can bring people together and go, this is exactly what you're going to need from A to Z. A
one-stop shop type of well, it appeared to them as a boutique approach. Now, I'll probably be somewhere pulling my hair out trying to figure out.
Well, yeah, because you're doing
and you did say you used to have dreadlocks. Is that what happened?
That's exactly why I don't have them anymore.
And you know, you're doing kind of the same thing we've been talking about doing, and I think you're in a unique position because, and you've also undersold yourself slightly on my overall question. I noticed when we had our meeting the other day that you asked, what can we do?
Absolutely.
And everything we said, you wrote something down.
Absolutely.
And some of it was a case of, you know, we didn't know we did that necessarily. We didn't realize that was a separate thing.
Right.
Until you asked specific questions. So you helped us identify that's not only something we do, that can actually be a service separate unto itself that we can offer.
That's exactly why you guys just put me on a retainer.
I'd like nothing better.
Yeah, really.
No, we're going to work together.
But you can help us identify those, but then you are also in a position to turn around and approach the average business owner and actually be able to educate them and make them understand what production value is and why they don't want some guy with a camera and a microphone pointed at them to shoot their commercial.
Uncle Joe with a camera
and why their commercial, when it's shot like that, doesn't look like the Coca-Cola commercial that was shot by the big Hollywood LA teams.
Absolutely.
Well, it's funny because, you know, a couple of months ago, right before Christmas, me and Kent and our sales rep T went to a function, and a gentleman came up to us and asked us, he said, what makes you different than everybody else is coming out and doing my business promos? And I says, well, typically the people that you would hire is going to be either a very big conglomerate that's going to charge you a ton of money, or it's going to be the guy, Uncle Bob with just the camera,
and hopefully a microphone other than the camera mic.
Yeah,
you cannot give Uncle Bob a damn camera. I'm just saying.
And he goes, well, I can't afford, the big conglomerate. And I said, well, good. My name is Jamie Hall. I'm Rising Fire Productions, and we'll be the one to do all the work for you on a bigger level.
There you go.
Because people don't realize if you're trying to promote your business, you're trying to promote your company and be able to bring more of that in, it's got to look good. Right. It's got to sound good.
Right. And one of my benefits to you guys would be that all of that consult that you have to do initially, you shouldn't have to do that. Your thing should be, we have deadlines to make, we have things to do, jobs that we should be editing, shooting, and producing. I take on that consult, provide that.
where's the checkbook? Because I am tired.
I tell them, and I work with I'm that median between them and you, and I can help them better determine what's going to be the best possible result for them. I can come to you and say, hey, this is exactly what we need to do. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, this is your gig. This is your calendar. Let's go.
Hey,
type of a deal.
And I'm here to tell you, if he's willing to do that, for people out there that don't know, if he's willing to do that, I have seen my family maybe for an hour this whole week.
Wow.
Yeah, I will say,
true.
And I don't know how true this is of other businesses because I haven't done it. He, of course, has, and I don't think it's so different. But
it's not.
Doing this business as a small business on our own, and it is just the three of us, Jamie, myself, and Kent, doing it that way is a lot of work. You're wearing a lot of hats. And, as you're privy to some of the things that have happened in our business life in this past week, as he said, he's seen his family for an hour. We have not stopped. And it's been, pre-planning one production, getting onto the production, all while planning his promotional video shoot for Nature of the Beast, all while making all the promotional materials we're going to need to be launching on the internet and social network sites, all while doing this, all while doing that. Then, of course, last night we had the Mystic Crew of Pegasus ball that we had to film, so we're doing event photography or videography in all of this.
Which is tough.
And Kent's lining up editing work, and, potentially one of those jobs is I Am Soul.
Absolutely.
So this is all coming in, and we have to keep up with all of this. And I really felt the other day, I almost posted on Facebook, that for the first time since starting the LLC a little over about a year ago or so, I feel like a small business owner.
You are a small business owner.
I feel like one now
because
of that level of work. And you're like what you said, there are so many things that because of who we are on the back end, the writers, the producers, the directors, because of those positions, there's a lot of these other positions we shouldn't have to be doing.
Right.
Because it takes away from that. And I don't mean to say it's beneath us or that we're above it by any means.
No,
because any one of us will get on a set for anyone and carry cable.
Absolutely.
But it is difficult to be that stretched across that many functions. So for someone like us, what you're offering is an ideal situation.
Right.
Because it is a way for clients to be found. It is a way for business arrangements to be made while we focus on the production itself being the topic and production that we're capable of producing.
And even with that being said, hopefully still you have more than 1 hour to spend with your family. And like I was just joking with you guys before we started filming today, every time I see you eating some fast food, when are you going to eat vegetables? But those things are important. When you're talking about working hard every day, what are you working for? We work for health. We work to have a roof over our head. We work to be able to do simple things in life. And why shouldn't we be able to do it? This is a profession just like any other profession. Trust me, most people who go to school and earn their MBAs go work for the finance firm or the this firm or the that firm. Well, me, I want to do consulting for media and entertainment because I see the value. I see the value added. I know we spoke about small businesses, but I can be honest with you. We can almost touch anybody in this town, or anyone who have any type of ideal in this town who want to be a part of the entertainment industry, and there are ways they can do that through me and through you. And I want to identify that person.
Absolutely.
I mean, what you have to offer to people like myself and other companies, and I want to say this, don't get me wrong, I don't mind doing what we've done.
Right.
No. I love meeting the people
Absolutely.
and everything, but there does come a point where, like Lazarus is saying, is, you know, we have to wear so many hats.
Yes.
That you get stretched very thin.
Right.
And I know this week I've talked to him on the phone more than I've talked to my wife in person. You know, and to have somebody like yourself to be able to rely on and go, hey, I've got this for you. You guys can do that. I think what you're doing is a wonderful thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it's a necessary thing.
Absolutely.
Thing. And that means a lot to hear that, because, again, Square Roots was started, where the name came from my grandfather. And this was sort of a way that I wanted to pay homage to him. My grandfather was a civil rights activist and a philanthropist. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Rossville Health Center, but he was a part of starting the organization that actually built that years ago. And of course, I've always known I never wanted to take over the health center, but I wanted to do something to show some type of something for all the work that he's done and just who I've turned out to be, mainly because of being reared by him growing up. And Square Roots Media, I said, you know what? I've always been great at telling his story, which that's the biggest project I ever want to do in my life. I actually have all the material and I own all the rights to that, so I'm excited about working on that at some point. Excellent. But that was kind of how, also too, I knew I would have to be involved in this business full time to do that. And but you know, my grandfather was a people's person. He could work with almost anybody. And I think this is very similar to what he was doing back in the 60s. You know, except I'm taking a community of artists and business, and I'm merging us together to create something better than what we probably would expect or already have existing. You know, Memphis is kind of, it's a diamond in the rough, you know. But you really have to really get out there and figure out how to meet people like us to do that.
Memphis has, you know, I've been to a lot of cities, and I haven't spent nearly as much time in all of them as I have this one specifically. But doing film for 12 years, going to the places that the artistic people are going to be found, I've run into all kinds of talent. Mm-hmm. Memphis has incredible musicians. Talented filmmakers. Mm-hmm. Amazing artists of all kinds. And we don't really have the best outlet for expressing that. There are a few galleries downtown. Right. They seem to be specialized towards the styles and types of artwork they display. Most of Memphis's arts are very alternative styles and things like that, because it comes from the Midtown being a very artistic community, fuels a lot of free thinking.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about yesterday. The Pony Express.
Oh, the car we saw with a rocking horse on the roof. I thought it was funny.
I thought it was fantastic.
But we have all of this talent and no real outlet for it, especially any kind of an organized outlet.
That's true.
Now, we've recently met a gentleman named Robert Coletta, who has the Memphis Rehearsal Complex. Hope I got that right.
That's what it is.
Okay. And at least once a month, he's throwing an event, and he's got music, and he's got artists with a little table setting up their art for sale.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't charge them anything for it.
And he has it's free entry, everything's free for the artist and for the guests to come in and to experience the music, to experience the local art being produced. Mm-hmm. And this is a fantastic thing. And he really looks like he's growing very quickly. And, you know, if we can reach out to that community, connect them to the film community, connect the film community to the business community, and you become the hub to all of that. You now have this interconnected network that allows small businesses with low budgets to produce quality projects and product that will reflect their business in a positive light.
And I want to add some clarity to something too, because it's something that I'm learning that, especially when I hear the word like small business and low budget, people do need to also know what small business and low budget mean. I mean, a small business can make a pretty substantial amount of money per year.
It can.
Annually. And low budget can also be somewhere in the millions, you know, maybe in the early millions, 2 millions or so.
It just depends on the project.
It depends on the project. So, I mean, anywhere from $0 to, you know, 2 million.
But I guess in the regards to small businesses, a lot of your average commercial shoots for, you know, a 30-second spot, 40-second spot, often can run upwards of $10,000, probably easily.
Right.
I believe our tech, Greg Gray, you've done commercial, like, product, right?
Yeah,
low budget stuff. And even that, see, so even at low budget, he's looking at $5,000 for some of these commercial works.
But just imagine if they spent more money for more quality.
Well, of course.
What it do for them? Because honestly, I mean, what I've realized is that these businesses get the best bang for their buck. I mean, okay, you spend $10,000, you spend $5,000, but I mean, if you're spending $10,000 and $5,000 and you're making close to $100,000 revenue from that idea, if you spent more money on creating a better idea or a better visual, you will most likely make more money and attract new people.
Right.
And that's the value added, you know, to having teams that work so hard overnight to stay up and edit and come up with ideas.
Again, that's the education thing, and Jamie's actually going to be doing a show, radio show for BOCI.
Oh, wow.
That kind of is designed to educate the businesses about what production is.
Yes.
Why is it that they need to pay for Greg Gray, in our case, to come out there and do sound for them?
Exactly.
In something that's a video production.
Why they need to pre-plan, you know, whether they want to script it or they would like to have us script it, you know, whether they want their people to act in it or they want us to bring people to act in there, you know, for them, instead of just calling up the day before and go, hey, I need a commercial tomorrow.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not that we can't do a commercial for them tomorrow,
but if you want
I've
quality.
Learned, if you want great quality, I've learned the more that you plan for something, the more that you do pre-production for the day that you get there, things go a lot smoother.
Almost like if you don't plan to succeed, you plan to fail.
Pretty much.
And then the way that they can, we can keep the cost effective for small businesses is they come to a Square Roots, get some consultation first. Hopefully you guys don't go up on your price because you have to go consult with everybody. That takes more of your time. Eventually you have to charge for that.
Yeah.
If you continue to spend time
We're
consulting.
actually at a place where that's becoming a consideration, just because as we get jobs, like he said, it really isn't just get the job, show up. We have to sit back and we have to figure out how many cameras are we using, how many PAs are we going to need, how many grips are we going to need.
Absolutely.
Then we have to contact people so we can get commitments from people, because as you know, I'm the person who's most fortunate on one side because I don't have a day job.
Right.
But most of us in this industry, in this town, have another job of some kind that is a 9 to 5.
Exactly.
And we can't just decide to take time. We have to get the approval, or we have to let somebody know so they can get somebody to cover a shift or whatever it might be. So Jamie and I are constantly on the phones, on emails, texting, whatever it takes to find a grip, to find a PA.
And they also have to, you know.
And that's just one job, one customer.
Right.
You know, I've got emails. I've got an email right now from a woman about a potential video job. I read the email 3 days ago. I haven't even had the opportunity to bring it up in discussion with my partners because we're too busy dealing with the one we have right now to get into that. So what we really need is someone who's talking to this person for us already.
Right.
And getting all those details that we would need, because as soon as I'm ready to talk to Jamie and Kent, they're going to have questions I don't have answers for yet because I haven't had that time.
Exactly.
So it really is, you really do need.
So we're all right on time.
You need someone in your position who can take care of all that follow-up and all that pre-plan to allow the production company the information, and here's the plan, here's where you need to be, which allows us to find our grips, make our plan our shoot, get our shots in line, and show up on set as prepared as we can possibly be, instead of showing up on set, all of us talking on our phone to a customer, not even involved on the project we're on.
Wow, yeah.
Which is what has happened to us. I mean, just today.
And that can really hurt you because you can lose business that way.
You know, this is obviously not a job or a situation where we'd lose business.
Right.
But we showed up, we were running late. We show up with all of our equipment. We have to get set up. Jamie walks through the door doesn't even have time to say hello to me, and I'm on the phone with another one of our customers.
Wow.
I have to leave in
he's
in about 10 minutes
Jamie,
to deal with
another customer.
So and this is that's an ideal situation.
Yeah,
if we had someone in a position that could find us someone that could go do what he's about to have to go do, he could stay and finish this show.
Absolutely.
Now, this isn't a paid gig. This is our own thing.
Not yet.
But it is a commitment we make. And we
Right.
try I don't know how many people are watching right now. Hopefully there's someone out there.
Yes.
But whether it's 1 or 100, we made a commitment to that potential audience.
Yeah,
and I want to
absolutely.
bring them the best possible show. I want to bring them guests that have something interesting and hopefully beneficial to their plans if they're an artist as well.
Absolutely.
And again, create that network and create that group of people that will support each other and make something in this city possible to sustain and create a strong network of people with.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say, guys, thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, no, you're
on behalf
wonderful.
of Square Roots Media
Thank you
and
for
I
being
Am
here.
Soul, hopefully we can come back and do some more
Yeah.
interviews about this. This is amazing because
You have learned everything with us as a family.
it is, and this is exactly the right direction. I just think it's not by chance that we all end up in the same place right now, developing a new business that I think have a lot of potential. And my prayer for all of us is that we can just all hold on to who we are internally, because obviously we are the right people for this type of deal. And I've came across paths with quite a few people in this city, and I kind of know how it can be enough to know that it's okay. It's when to appreciate a good thing. So I appreciate what you guys are really doing.
I appreciate the words.
Yes.
It's very kind of you. And I, like you, I agree that, whether it's a cosmic plan, a God plan, the universe at large, whatever anybody wants to refer to it as or call it, I do believe things happen for a reason.
Definitely.
I firmly believe that people come into your life for a reason.
That's true.
And that they come in when they come in, they leave when they leave, they come back if and when they come back, all for a reason.
Right.
And there was an immediate impression when you walked into the audition room, or into Indie Acting Studios for the audition, on Glowing. You made an immediate impression on me. I believe Kent would back me up. I think I pulled him aside before we even took you in and said, I already know I want him. I just don't know which part yet.
That's a good feeling.
And then we took you into the audition. Is that? I don't remember. You don't remember? Okay. But he also knows I'm prone to that. A very similar thing happened when DeMarco came in, or LaPriest, or whichever. I feel bad because I don't know how he prefers to be referred to. But he's gifted. He's very talented. And he walked in and, I could tell by his personality. I was like, okay, I want him on set. I don't know for who. Ran his audition, and when I saw his audition, I had to turn to Forrest and say, I don't know how we're going to do this, but we have to tell an actor I thought I would never, ever say something like this to, that I need him to step out of a position, out of a role, because I want this guy.
Wow.
I'd never met DeMarco. I'd never seen him do anything, but he came in and he laid down that impressive audition. And it just kind of went from there. But you coming in was much the same thing. It made a very strong impression on me personally. And on the personal impression, I wanted to work with you, which meant you needed to be on my set. Then it was just a matter of finding a position. But even since then, you yourself said you get on a lot of small sets, especially bigger sets.
Right.
You do all these work with these people and you never see them again.
Right. That's true. Like, what happened to that project?
That is generally not true with us.
Right.
With us, it's anyone we've worked with. We do our best. If chances are it went well, because we've never had a really bad experience with anybody on my sets that I can think of off the top of my head. We're pretty much open to working with them again. We like establishing those relationships because not only is that the actor or actress we're going to look to in the future for a potential role, but that's our network.
Absolutely.
The people that like them, the people that are fans of theirs, the people that know them, that are family to them, all are aware of what they do.
Oh, this is no different than any other business. The people you see going up is definitely the people you see coming down and vice versa.
And the better impression you can make.
The best impression you can make. Because you never
is
know if you
always,
have a chance to make it again.
Exactly. Well, you don't get a chance to make that first impression ever again.
Absolutely.
You can make apologies, you can make excuses, and you can, humbly concede to the good things, but you can never go back and change that first impression.
That first impression, that's true.
And for us, it's very important that our sets are smooth.
Yes.
We, especially Jamie, excel at doing pre-production and planning what we're going to do so that when we're on that set, the actors, the cast, the crew, they're not just waiting around. Because as you know, acting 101, you're going to wait. You're just going to sit there and wait.
Hurry
it just
up and
happens. Lights need to be set. Sound needs to be set and checked. Camera needs to be put in place. All of that takes time to move for every shot. So there is waiting. But we work in such a way that, you know, if you only need to film a small scene, we're going to schedule when the scene is going to be shot. We're going to get as close as possible. We're going to have you come in, go through makeup, get on set, roll your scene, and roll out as fast as we can so you're not waiting. To treat you as professional as possible. To take up as little of your time as possible, especially on the small productions where we're not paying people. And we're demanding so much of them to hang out there and donate that time. And, you know, we've had numerous people who have believed in us. You yourself have now returned to film with us based on that belief and that experience.
I did.
And that is the kind of thing we try to create on set. That is the thing we try to create in this room, on this show. That is the kind of thing we try to create in our business ventures as well. You were going to say something, Jamie?
No, I'm good. Okay. I'm actually, I do want to say thank you for coming in.
Wow,
I've
you,
got
Jamie. You got to roll.
I've got to bolt out.
I understand that.
For this production that we've got going on tomorrow, but I do want to say thank you for coming out and the things that we are about to do with each other. Absolutely. I want to thank you for that, and you're such a great person.
Thank you.
And I enjoy working with you every time. But thank you so much for coming in. Yes. I hate to bounce out on everybody.
Our fellow East High alumni.
Yeah. East High alumni. We discovered that the other night.
All right. Thank you, Jamie, and good luck. We'll talk later. Yeah, please come on over.
Well, my new name is Jamie Hall, and yes.
So, I mean, you can. Every point you made right there is self-evident. Jamie having to get up and rush out of here just because we don't have a staff. We are 3 people trying to make a living at this.
Yes, and I have a job ahead of me too. I'm gonna have to build a staff and train them to do some of the many different things that I know that come instinctively to me.
Right.
You know, and so that's going to be an interesting thing. I can't wait to do that.
So,
but it's going to be great.
I heard you. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm developing a few right now.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Now, you mentioned that you're going to take I Am Soul to the.
It's the American
Black
Film Festival.
American Black Film Festival in Miami.
Yes.
Will we be seeing it here in Memphis?
Absolutely.
Now,
yes.
Are you planning on going to Indie Memphis, or are you planning on going to?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not limited to anything. I would love to support any Memphis, especially initiatives, if we are able to do that. I would love to do, you know, an independent type of a thing to invite, in particular, like trendsetters like yourself and Jamie, the whole Rising Fire team, and just different people, the film community, just to create a network. Because I Am Soul is not just a documentary; it's also kind of what Square Roots is for soul,
right,
in Memphis. So that will be that entity. That'll be more. It's kind of like a client-based idea for Square Roots as well.
Okay.
So it will be. It's more along the lines of that, and that was really how I even was able, like you said, to help you identify your inventory of what you do.
Right.
This is kind of the project that helped me do that. I didn't realize that, you know, I could, you know, do, you know, attract people to an event, or, you know, bring production people together. I didn't realize that how much work that was until I was staying up overnight doing it to go to work the next day. So I was like, oh my God, this is why people charge so much money, because you can go crazy doing this.
Well, you saw, I mean, how much notice did we give you?
Well,
we had a business meeing on Thursday night.
And Friday.
And the first thing I said to you is, what are you doing Friday night?
And
because
I told you I was dead.
I needed to fill a position.
I said I was dead.
But you know, because you are who you are,
right,
you understand how these things happen, and you support us, and you wanted us to be able to do what it is we were hired to do and succeed.
I mean, I knew it'd be something good.
You came out, and I appreciate that. But it can be very hectic. There is, you know, there's no end to the number of things you might need in any given project, and it does change project to project. Even within the project, You know, we got hired on basically a 3-day shoot. It's two full days and 2 half-day shoot as the way it's scheduled. And, you know, on one day we need 2 PAs. On another day we need 6.
Wow.
Just because the different type of shoot that it is for that scene. So even shooting one scene to a different scene for one project, you can have different demands in any given day of shooting.
Right, right.
And someone has to organize all of that. And, you know, you've got a director who should be doing X number of things. You've got a cinematographer who should be doing X number of things. And he's, in our case, also our editor most of the time. So he has to plan ahead for that as well. And then we got Jamie. So one of us is doing the directing. The other one of us is first AD. So that one's working on scheduling and all that, while the director's working on his shot list and communicating with his actors. So it gets very hectic with all these hats on.
Exactly, and that was very similar to a situation that happened to me even with producing I Am So. You know, I was expected to kind of be able to build the brand sort of aspect of it, and in the middle of production, somehow I ended up doing the scheduling that actually turned out to be a lot of what the documentary is. The executive producer who, you know, does something totally different by day, you know, would end up doing budgets and finance. I mean, it was all good though, but it was a lot of fun. But my thing is, I could have done it all day. I could have done it all day. I was mad that I didn't have enough time.
And you know, that's kind of the same thing with us. There are certain things. I actually completely hate the computer. I hate being on it. I hate dealing with the social networks. And it's not the people side of it, because I love the people. It's just the tedium of being locked to my desk and my computer.
Right, you go crazy.
When I'm a creative mind, I want to either be sitting down with my blank pieces of paper, writing all my notes and story ideas, or I want to be on a set. And I prefer sets where I'm telling the stories I want to tell. But I have the same pleasure, the same enjoyment by being on the set of the Business Over Coffee television shoot, the shoot we did the other night, which is video footage for a stage play, whether we're shooting a music video or a TV commercial. I just like being on sets. Kent absolutely loves having his camera rolling.
Yes,
I mean, I think if he could do everything in life with his camera in front of him, he would.
Including sleep.
Including, well, he doesn't sleep, so that's not really an issue. But these are the things we love. And with them comes the other side. The need to constantly network, the need to build these connections, the need to do this or that or the other. And that takes away from the time that we get to do what we want to do, but it's a part of what has to happen. So having someone like yourself who's out there and recognizes these are positions that are needed, these are things that are needed, and you offer that middleman position, that can really benefit people like us.
Well, I found it very difficult to not be the middleman, because I just wanted, at first, on a good day for me, I just wanted to kind of be, you know, this is who we are, this is what we do, and we send this out to network and hopefully get picked up. But you know, that couldn't happen without being the middleman to the people that I would need to get it to that point. I mean, that's how big the gap is here. You know, and you almost couldn't have enough of it, to be honest with you, because I mean, everybody who have a business or an idea in this industry here will sort of need some type of something in the middle.
Now,
because like even like what you mentioned, some of the things you do about 4 or 5 jobs on the set.
Oh, easily.
If you were in LA, every one thing you do would be a career. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That would be a career, and people will shun you for doing more than one. I mean, you'll be illegal in the union world.
In the union world, we are very much so. Because, well, and a lot of it goes back to accountability.
Yes.
Having one person on one job means you know when that job didn't get done right that it was that person.
Absolutely.
And on a, you know, especially in an LA where you have multi-million-dollar budgets and 200, 300, 400 people running around on a set.
Yes.
It's important to know who did what, who got what. Because if you do have flaws in your staff, you want to be able to
point them out,
kind of pick them out quick, and you know, get the chaff and the wheat separated from each other so you can succeed.
Right.
Now, building connections, finding people and artists with ideas, and being able to help them find ways of getting them out there is a very important aspect of what you're talking about.
Yes.
And it's also a strong aspect of what we at Rising Fire are trying to do, and like we've been talking about with small businesses. How do they get the idea for their web series or the idea for their TV commercial or something like that? How do they get that from their idea to produced? Now, actually, budget is a part of that,
Absolutely.
and we work and figure out budgets. But it's not just small businesses.
Right.
It's other forms of art. Now, I want to do a quick cutaway here in a second, but I got a small lead into it. In looking into Nature of the Beast, Jamie's upcoming production, we're putting together the promotional trailer, which will help us then shop it around, show people the look we're going for and things like that, and help us raise money, we hope. And in doing so, Jamie was looking around at locations, and of course, there's the castle. I don't know if you, Ashlar Hall is what it's officially called down on Central. It used to be a club called the Castle.
Oh, wow.
And it is basically a castle-style structure right in the middle of the city. And it's owned by Prince Mongo, who is a local Memphis personality. You can Google him and you can find all kinds of information and
Prince
crazy
Mongo.
things about him. He's a very, very interesting individual. But Jamie, his desire to possibly use Ashlar Hall for some of the set work led him to reach out and contact Prince Mongo.
Wow.
In conversations with Prince Mongo, he got connected to another lady by the name of Kathy Rowe. Kathy Rowe is a self-published author. I want to say Kentucky, but don't quote me on that. She lives, I think, in Kentucky. She has a farm, so she's running a whole farm, and she produces her own novels. She's written several. She's got a couple of science fiction films, or excuse me, science fiction novels, and then one based on Ashlar Hall called The Hall. And she found out from Prince Mongo that he'd been contacted by a production company in Memphis. Now, of course, Ashlar Hall being in Memphis, all of the locations in her novel, legitimate places that you or I would drive past now. All the street names, the streets we would drive down. So she made sure her novel was very, very Memphis-centric.
Wow.
So when she found out a crew from Memphis had contacted him, she wanted that information because she was interested in having her book, The Hall, turned into a motion picture. Now, she has contacted Jamie. They've had several conversations, and she is currently shopping the idea to potential investors. And we're in early stages of pre-production. And again, this goes back to what we were discussing. We just haven't had the chance to sit down and do it properly because of all of the other work. But we're in the very early stages of trying to break down a means of getting inside of Ashlar Hall, maybe bringing in Greg Gray, lighting up some of the rooms and getting some footage, as well as some just flat what the room looks like footage, so that she can now shop images to these potential investors. So this is an author who wanted to see their novel become a film.
Right.
That is something we can help them with.
Absolutely.
As a production company, we have the means to do that. The last film I directed was written by a friend of ours named Jason Perry. And again, he wrote a script, but he didn't have the means to produce it. Through conversations with myself and my cinematographer, Marcus Ken Hampson, he realized we were the people to do that. So he raised a budget out of his own pocket. He paid us, we came out and we made him a production, and he's very proud of the production we produced for him. And that is what we intend to do with Kathy Rowe if all works out. And you know, at this point in time, we have just received a copy of the novel. I haven't gotten a physical copy so I can actually show people the novel yet, but it's Kathy Rowe, R-O-W-E, Kathy spelled with a K, The Hall, and it can be found on Amazon and all of the typical sites, I believe.
Now, is this a big book or a thin book? You know,
this is a monstrous novel.
Oh, my God.
The novel is 380 some odd pages, I believe. Thankfully, the author herself has drafted the first draft of the script. We have received it. I myself have not read it because I want to actually read the novel, which with the amount of time we're putting into everything else has proven a chore.
Right.
Jamie has, I think he said, read the whole script, but we haven't even had a chance to sit down with it.
Wow.
But we've received the script. We have a full book, and we're going to go from there and do what we can to raise attention. But
my next question is going to be, how are you guys going to fit this in between all the other projects? I mean,
this is very early stages. This is something that would have to be designed, promoted. The script has to be finalized, put into lock. Then we go into trying to raise a budget and maybe doing some casting options. She has a few ideas of who she'd like to reach out to, which would determine to some degree the size of the budget. So we have research to do on how much does actor X cost per day, per week, per whatever, and determine what our shooting schedule could be and kind of put it through that. So it's a ways away still. It would be at least a year, probably longer than that, before we'd be anywhere near actual production.
Yes, that's a lot of work.
It is. But I'm going to take a small cutaway. This is basically a promotional trailer that she herself just put together to try and help raise attention. We hope to put together something a little bit better for her in the near future. Kathy Rose, The Hall.
This is so cool.
First time I saw your face, crystallized without a trace of red. Broke into my heart, corrupting my senses for a start. Could it be that you're the one born of the evil son? Are you just a devil in disguise? Your silken gown betrays the night. Your sultry lips reveal desire in the light. Put my hand to your heart to expose my love for you. It's just a start. I'm led into a twisted maze. You fill my head with a sensual craze. I see it clear, you're just a devil in disguise. Where you work your spell, the way your magic holds me, it's like a nightmare out of hell. It seems clear as a bell. The way you're controlling me, I fall deeper in the well. I want you owning me. I now know the way things seem. My emotions clash without a thought to what they mean. Rob me of my very soul. My conscious thoughts are beginning to explode. A light shines through a clouded haze. You beckon me to come your way. Do I follow this woman in disguise? Where you work your spell, way your magic holds me, it's like a nightmare out of hell. It seems clear as a bell. Way you're controlling me, I fall deeper in the well. I want you owning me.
Hi, I'm Sherry Henley with Business Over Coffee. It's great to be with you today and to be with this great panel of professionals that we have here with us today.
I think we influence each other just about who we are and how we act.
There's some very strong studies done through positive psychology that talk a lot about the neuropsychology of enclothement or empowerment through clothing.
We are bringing everyone together. Hi, I'm Sherry Henley.
All right. That was the Kathy Rose, The Hall promotional video for her novel, which we will hope to be turning into a feature film. She's currently seeking investment, and she has completed the first draft of the script, as I said. At the end of that, we also saw a small 30-second clip from the BOCI. What's the official? Business Over Coffee TV, okay. Which we shot for the BOCI team, which is going to be a regular television thing that she's producing for small businesses. And that's actually a group we got involved with. That's where a lot of our business work is headed right now.
Wow.
Is through networking with that company. So, you know, we've kind of did a conjoined project where we're producing their show, and they're using their show as a template for what we can produce for other small companies like that in her network that are trying to create some sort of attachments or video production, video presence on the internet.
It's amazing, and big shout out to Kathy for the work that she's doing. I mean, out in Kentucky on the farm, writing books, production company in Memphis. I mean,
No. The BOCI is separate.
BOCI is separate.
BOCI is a separate entity. Yeah. Kathy is an author, and she does still shout out to her because she's got a full farm that she's functioning.
And shout out to BOC too.
But Sherry Henley is the young lady behind Business Over Coffee International, and she is a phenomenal person. She's very driven, very full of life, very up.
Wow.
And she's kind of infectious that way. When you're around her, it's very hard to feel.
She sounds like my kind of person.
She does a very good job of making you feel like you aren't small business, that you're just not big business.
Well, actually, in our city, you know, small businesses really stimulate our economy here, our local economy.
And, you know, personally, one of the reasons I wanted us to go out into the business world was to create connections and networks for the benefit of the creative side, of course, because everybody has their own agenda. You have to in a business.
You do.
At the same time, I've worked for corporations, I've worked for small businesses. I think that more and more as we see this fiscal cliff and all the political stuff that's going on in our nation, I think more and more that it's going to be the small business that's more likely to save us.
Yes, it is.
And help us retain our identity as a nation, as individuals, and as cities, and you know, on every level, just to retain.
Actually, small businesses are on the rise right now. I can't remember the exact percent, but it's definitely like doubled within the last 2 years since 2008. Yeah.
Well, I think everybody got disillusioned after, you know, all these crashes that we had coming into the 21st century.
I did.
With the big banks, the big businesses, the big, and, you know, big government. Everything kind of imploded on itself, and suddenly, you know, 20% more of us are homeless.
Right.
50% more of us are losing our jobs.
Again, that was kind of how I ended up back here. It was the writer's strike was right around that same time. And so, you know, I thought I was only coming home to visit because I really didn't come home when I was in LA. So I thought I was only coming here to visit for a brief minute, and ended up staying because I was like, wow, you know, I just realized that our business economy on a national level was never going to be the same again.
It could never be the same.
It could never be the same again. And it was a great time not to really, you know, react, but become empowered and take matters into your own
I like
hand.
the way you see it. That's a good way to look at it, because it really was a case of you were let know at that point there is no one you can rely on.
Exactly.
Except for yourself, your ingenuity. You are the one that's going to find your way out of your situation.
Yes.
And to recognize that, and you're a young man, so to have recognized, well, you're younger than me.
Oh God.
To have recognized that, to have embraced that, and to have just launched.
It was not easy. I mean, I promise you, my sister that you met a couple days ago, she was probably the only person in my family that realized I was near depression. And my mom would always say, "Yo, you don't know what depression means. You're too young to know what depression means." No, I was depressed. Like, did not want to get out the bed, and it was, for me, it was film, entertainment, or nothing. You know, that was my life. And so to even work for an employee like I have the last 4 years, I mean, it was like pulling teeth. Again, it was like sleeping with the enemy. And sometimes it's still like that, but luckily for me, I was able to find a job that gave me an opportunity to do some things that I like to do in terms of empowerment, which is no different than what Square Roots will be doing for the creative community. Right. And but yeah, it's a very scary thing at first, but just like anything you do in life, you have to grow. And
nothing worth having comes easy. And if you don't work for it, you tend to not really respect it as much.
Yes.
And, you know, I understand the position you were in because, you know, I've done retail, I've done restaurants. I was actually waiting tables just a couple years ago. And, you know, I figured I'm working towards film, but I was going to restaurants, not making enough money to survive. Coming home, not having the money I needed to pay my bills, puts me in a state of depression.
Yes, it does.
Now I have no energy to be creative. And then I had a health issue where, you know, something in my right leg that they believe probably nerve-related has caused me to be basically unemployable. I'm unreliable. Wow. I might be able to walk around for an hour. I might only be able to walk around for 5 minutes. I might need to sit down for 2 hours. I might only need to sit down for 5 minutes.
Wow.
And I don't know until I know.
Wow.
And in all honesty, right now, you know, because of that condition, I'm sure people saw me shifting around a little earlier. There's a lot of pain. So I can't just go get a job. So this has become my job. It's as if my own body decided, no more. You are not going to work for someone else.
For me, you know, that's funny you say that. For me, it was just my brain. My stress level would just, it imploded a while ago. My doctor actually prescribed me one of those antidepressant medicines. I was like, I'm not getting on that. But I think what helped me was actually, it's again, establishing Square Roots and identifying new opportunities that showed me that there is some value to who I am and what I can do. And also allowing other people to have that same feeling that I have every day. Well, that's what's saving me right now.
I have recently said to several people that had I known the number of hats I'd be wearing, the amount of work I'd be doing, the level of stress I would face doing this as my own small business, I might never have done it. However, if I had ever known the level of satisfaction I would receive from doing something I love and being paid to do it, no matter the struggle, I would have done it years ago. Because it really, the sensation of being able to do something that means something to you and have that be your source of income, your source of support, and to know that enough people out there believe in you enough to allow you that freedom to do it.
Exactly.
Is an unprecedented feeling.
Yeah. That's why the support in what we do is so important. The support that we're experiencing right now between Rise and Fire and I Am Soul, as pretty much new companies that are coming up in this business that I think are going to be great forces to be reckoned with by any means.
We hope so.
Absolutely. I can almost say I know so.
More than to be reckoned with, I'd like to be the force that is making it possible for others to step.
You're absolutely right, because for so many years it's always kind of been like the big thing that build these fences to keep people out. And I think we're kind of like putting doors in those fences saying, no, come on in and
I like the idea of knocking down as many walls as possible and inviting as many people in as possible.
Well, that's because you totally understand the importance of managing innovation as opposed to managing through fear and telling people they can't. You know, that takes a very confident and a very high level of pretty much experience to do that.
I do definitely think that fear of failure, fear of the response or lack of response one might receive is a definite issue.
Do you really care about people's response to you, Les? I'm thinking
that's a two-sided sword,
you know
because instinctively I want to say absolutely not. I don't care. I am who I am, and I don't know how to be anything else.
That's what I like about you. I want more of you and me.
But at the same time, I want people to take a chance with my work.
That's true too.
I want them to take a chance and try to understand what it is that's being said by the work I produce.
Right.
So, and then, I mean, as a business front, I have to care on some level.
Right.
Now, am I willing to compromise who I am for any of that? Absolutely not.
And is it even worth it to compromise?
To me, never.
Absolutely.
My mother often would tell me, you know, do you understand that how you look, whether it was, you know, when I had a mohawk and when I had spikes all over my jackets or paint all over my jackets, whatever it was, she would ask me, do you understand how many people you turn off and how much more difficult it makes your life? And I couldn't get her to quite understand that she might be right, but at the same time, it saves me a lot of time, trouble, and headache dealing with the people that aren't going to benefit me.
Absolutely.
It's the small thinkers that do judge the book by the cover.
Absolutely.
It's not necessarily the proper thinking or right of me to have this sensation inside of me, but by and large, I don't care. If they're the small thinkers, I don't have time for it. I don't know how to go that small.
And
I don't judge
shame on
people.
them.
I take people as who they are, and I expect others to do that. I offer everybody exactly what I expect of them. Immediate respect for every life, every one of us is alive. We deserve respect. Handle yourself intelligently.
Right.
Be respectful. Be considerate. Make the compromises you are willing to make and need to make that you recognize. But be true to who you are. Be yourself. Because I am. And I want to be accepted as that. So I offer that acceptance to others.
That is so true. That is so true.
It meant a lot to me talking to you when you said coming onto our set was such a positive experience for you and that you immediately felt a kinship or a brotherhood or a connection or I can't remember your exact words.
Because you don't get that a lot here. You don't.
But you don't get it a lot anywhere. It's really not just here.
It's true.
That's an anywhere thing. People are people no matter where you go.
That's
there's
true.
good, there's bad, and otherwise. But there isn't a lot of follow-up. You go on someone's set, you film their set, you move on, and they move on to the next thing, and you've helped them get what they need. I've heard a lot of actors complain that they don't see their footage. I've heard a lot of actors complain that they don't ever see an end product.
Right.
And I know that's the things we've done, you haven't seen anything.
That's true, yeah.
And that's not anybody's fault because ultimately, because of sound issues, that footage will never be released, unfortunately.
But some things happen, and we understand that's one of those things that happen, but I think the thing that's most important is that I know that that's not something that you would definitely want to continue to do. You would make a way to figure out the next time your actors are going to see their footage.
Oh, Lord.
You know what I mean?
As much as possible we want to. Now, there's a lot of actors out there that'll tell you they still haven't gotten it from us. But it is a situation where we go back to what you were talking about earlier. Kent is my cameraman, my editor, my web manager, my tech expert. And, you know, we won't even get to just our personal life because we're roommates and, you know, he lives with me and my wife and all the things he takes care of there. So, and I'm affectionately known as techno-tarded. I'm not really able to get them that footage. So it takes a lot of time and trouble to get it.
Right.
And I understand why a lot of people don't get it. But as filmmakers, it should be our responsibility to do that. And we are working towards a plan that will allow us to find time or take time to produce specifically that for people. Now, in addition to taking, this is a complete leap and change of subject, back to I Am Soul.
Absolutely.
When you go into the festival circuit, the building we're sitting in, Black Lodge Video, they've been here for 13 years. You look around you, you can see they're a library of rentable film. Right through that doorway, there's a local shelf. It's about as long as my arm.
Wow.
And it's been about that long for 13 years. We need to see your film on that shelf. We need to see any other work you've done on that shelf.
You would definitely see it on that shelf. I can guarantee you that.
And when you are ready to screen it, he has been known to have private screenings here.
Wow.
So if you can't afford to rent the theater, or if for some reason because of festival demands,
this is news to
you're
me.
not allowed to put it in a theater. My first film, Morning Ritual, first place it ever played was right here.
Wow.
We had this room packed full of people. So Mr. Martin over there is extremely open to having people come in here and bring their projects.
This is so cool. And like you said, I've passed this building for a number of years. I've never known that this is what Black Lodge Studio did. I mean, this is amazing. And I think this is such a a great culture, again, for our community here in film in Memphis.
Well, this is, we've been, every time we're here, we bring it up, but this is the ultimate library for filmmakers in this town.
Right.
Actually, for filmmakers in several towns, because this place is unlike any other that I've ever been. But you can come in here and you can study, and if you look behind me, you'll see by directors by name.
Absolutely.
You can come in and you can pick a director and you can watch their entire career.
Wow.
And if you want to follow an actor, they may not have it separated by every actor, but you can walk up to Matt Martin, and he is a walking, talking encyclopedia of film history.
Yeah, this place is amazing. I mean, I see some of my favorite films in here, and I love the fact that it's from every single genre.
And I doubt you've even had a chance to walk. This is this is an old house,
right? And
the entire place has been converted into a video store. You've got rooms like in the closet room over there. You've got music videos. In the next room, you've got world cinema. On the facing wall, you have the new releases.
Yes.
You've got TV releases, and you've got them in there by director. You've got them in there by genre. You have a whole room for science fiction.
Wow, yeah. I can't wait to take my tour.
You can come in here and you can truly, truly study film history by watching it, by talking to Matt Martin, who knows, he's got more information in one head about film than I've ever encountered.
Wow, yeah.
And it's not just American films. He has got worlds, like I said, the world cinema he's got covered. He strives to bring small and big film from all over the world into this building for the purpose of preserving and exposing to local filmmakers.
Yes.
For us to come in and educate ourselves and learn from, and maybe even find our own identities through that research.
Yes.
So please bring your work in here as you get it completed.
You know, I Am Soul is going to gladly represent. I mean, we love this. I mean, and I'm sure my team's going to love it too. I mean, we didn't even know something like this even existed. So this is amazing.
Apparently, it's become more and more evident that fewer and fewer people know about this place than we originally thought. He's had musicians here come in and play live. He's had actual Hollywood talent come visit. I mean, I know for a fact, Corey Feldman has been here. Crispin Glover has been here. They've reached out and tried to bring Hollywood talent to this city to give people in this town a chance to understand what that lifestyle is and who those people are. I was going to say, Corey Parker walked through.
Wow.
Do we know which Friday the 13th? I know. He was in the first one? Okay.
Wow.
He was in the first Friday the 13th. He's a local actor. He's a local acting coach. He does one-on-one coaching, and I've heard from numerous people that he's very good at it.
Wow.
So you never know. I mean, I've sat here doing our show, and Christian Walker walked in while we were on break there for a minute, who's a local filmmaker, actor, and musician. Musician after musician. Actor after actor on the local level.
Speaking of musicians,
filmmakers.
too, you definitely got to meet Tanya Dyson. That's actually who I Am Soul follows. Tanya Dyson, she has a company here called Neo Soulville, and the show follows her pretty much experience, which is a lot of what we've talked about, how we do so many things just to be able to live our dreams, and basically it follows her on a day in her life of work, friends, socializing.
We would love to have her come in. You come back with her.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'd love to have you here too.
Yeah.
But we'd bring her on. You know, one of the things we're trying to do is we're trying to tell filmmakers and artists and musicians, if you have things online, send us links, because when we do these cutaways,
we're gonna get you
we can show your work. It doesn't have to be our work. You know, right now we're running basically our things because that's what we have. Now we're going to do another cutaway here in just a second for Sam Baer's I Filmed Your Death. He was our guest last week. And, you know, he's one of those people who came into this city. He worked a little bit with Mike McCarthy. I met him on Cigarette Girl. I'd actually met him a couple of times earlier, but I got to know him on Cigarette Girl when we shot that. He used to come up here into Black Lodge, and he'd look around, and he'd do some studies, and he'd see the different films that people had made and the different genres that existed and all of that. He went out and he got Lloyd Kaufman, who owns Trauma Films, The Toxic Avenger, all those.
Yeah, I've heard about those.
He got Peter Took from The Monkees. He got Michael Horse, who played Deputy Hawk on Twin Peaks. And he put these people in his film. And he got that inspiration by watching these films, by coming in here. And he saw these people on these films, and he reached out to them. And he managed to put them in his films. And he was our guest last week. He's got a big production. He's going to be putting it into the festivals. He's looking at the business side of things now as well.
Wow.
Because he has to go into marketing. He has to go into potential distribution, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
So, everything that you're talking about, he's about to face as he goes out with a product now.
Right.
But we're gonna go ahead and cut away. This is Sam Baer's I Filmed Your Death. This is the rough trailer for now. He does have an updated one coming.
Absolutely. I filmed your death. That sounds scary.
Dig! I said dig! The picturesque hamlet of Bolton, Connecticut. Your typical New England town. However, under its beauty is a tragic history. Meet young filmmaker Pierce Lindad, born and raised. Perhaps you know Pierce's grandfather, the former trooper of the town, and a beloved public figure. Pierce's friends have just helped him make a movie, and it premieres tonight. Not everyone is happy about it. This could be the best night of Pierce's life, had he only known. I filmed your death.
All right. Now, that was Sam Baer's I Filmed Your Death. Hopefully we'll see a rough edit of that pretty soon. I've begged him to allow me to come in on a private screening to see the result. And of course, being here live, you have not seen the trailer itself, but definitely check it out. It's at
check it out.
Asbest Films, AZBEST.com.
All right.
And it's called I Filmed Your Death. This is their promotional work now, which
dope. I like the
we, of
stencils.
course, we showed last week. And if you drive around Midtown, you're likely to see several of these sitting around all over the place because it's kind of his partner Brett, one of the actors in it, also wrote the song. He thought of this as a great guerrilla marketing scheme. So if you drive around town, they're all over the place and bringing attention. So
I love the colors.
Again, that's Asbest, AZBEST.com. Asbest Films, one word, of course. Now, as you know, we give them that, and of course, anybody watching us right now is on the Rising Fire page, but www.risingfire.com. We spell fire with a Y. Makes it easier to find on Google. Plus, I love it when people ask why, because that's kind of the point. Always ask why.
Yes, I always ask why.
And if we have the Facebook page for Rising Fire Productions and the Facebook page for In Frame, plus the personal pages for myself and Jamie and Kent and all that. How will people get hold of you? Give us all your contact information. Spell it out for people.
It's very easy. They can call me. I might regret it later, but no, actually, I'm okay. I love voice-to-voice. I can be contacted at 901-827-3698. Again, I'm Antoine Dandridge, and I'm the owner of Square Roots Media, which is really cool, too. A new venture that we have with that is we're breaking into the pet industry.
Okay.
So we have an online retail store for dogs, for the urban and metropolitan dog. I mean, you can get everything from bling to jewelry to shoes, hats, scarves, and the merchandise is growing. So yes, House of Paws is actually accessed on Facebook right now when it's Paws with a Z. So if
P-A-W-Z?
yeah, So House of Pawz, P-A-W-Z. Love it. So you can access that there. But to contact me if you want to initially get some conversation going about your up-and-coming projects. Again, I'm Antoine Dandridge with Square Roots Media. We have a website coming up soon. But contact me, 901-827-3698.
And we'll, of course, as soon as you have the website and all that, we'll forward it on. And, you know, you're going to be on the show again once or twice at least.
I'm sure. Probably 10 times.
Now, I don't know if Kent will be able to capture this with his camera or not. We'll try that in just a second. But
oh my God.
I don't want to betray anything from Forrest. And, of course, as I mentioned, the footage for Glowing is beautiful. The audio, of course, is horrible. So chances are no one will ever actually see the footage. But my partner Jamie just sent this to me, and I thought you might take a look at it. There's a shot of you on set.
Awesome. Look, I look like my big brother.
Brings back some memories.
It does bring back some memories. That is hilarious.
And I'm going to go ahead and turn this to the camera here in a minute. And
let them see that.
Let's see if Kent can actually get a shot of that for everybody out there. I'm pretty sure Forrest is watching, so this might amuse him as well.
What's up, Forrest, if you're looking?
Can't get it? Not really good? Okay. Well, it's a shot of Antoine. Let's see if we can identify. Darius Newsom and Elkavan Sullivan.
Yes, and I'm looking real gangster on that picture.
And of course, you're all playing members of a gang.
Right.
And for the life of me, I can't remember the name of that now. The gang.
It was like, I just remember the colors were green, like green.
I was going to say we went with the green and black was the color scheme that we had used. And let's see, you met a number of people on that set. You met Darius, of course.
Yep, I met him.
Travis Stone.
Yes, Travis Stone.
Who is working right now on a play called Kid Diamond. And I don't want to betray too much about that. I don't know what the state of information release is, but this is, of course, written, directed by Daniel Martine.
Wow.
And Travis is the lead role and wrote all the music for it, or most of or all of the music for it. So it's a chance for Travis to shine both as an actor and as a musician,
which
is
huge.
As I have learned, he's actually very good at. I had no idea he was even a musician.
Do you know what kind of music you do?
I don't. The music for this is more of a blues-based thing, but from what I understand, Travis's preference is more of a heavy metal, hard rock kind of thing.
Are you serious?
So
I would have never guessed.
Well, of course not. He's such a calm, well-spoken
right.
individual. Also on that set, you met Marcus Seabury, who played the lead.
Yes, good guy.
We then hung 70 feet in the air from a 5-point harness as he confronted the greatest fear he had, which was heights.
And it was very scary to watch.
So, and you know, these are things, to try to bring it back to the point of the conversation, these are all things that have to be considered when going into production. So when a business wants to create an image or a commercial, they have to think, you know, how much of this can be filmed?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've had phone calls from people that wanted to do gunfights. Mm-hmm. The original version, the original script to Glowing involved an actual gun battle in the city streets, mm-hmm. which would have looked amazing on screen. But on our budget levels, to be able to organize the police, the insurance, the cast, all of the stuff you need to pull that kind of thing off, that's very daunting. Mm-hmm. So you have to design your production to some degree in accordance with the amount of budget you can produce.
Exactly.
Which we have strived to educate and help people understand what their desires would cost.
Oh, you guys have done a fantastic job with the whole educating thing. I know from an acting point of view, the education is always great. The direction on set is great.
Well, thank you.
I mean, any actor that will probably foresee themselves ever doing anything major, you know, whether your project or anybody's project, they would probably definitely want to get involved with something that you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that.
Know, I understand you're doing classes now.
Yes, yes.
Teaching classes to actors.
The idea mostly is to give actors a variety of options. Of course, Daniel Martine, who we just discussed, was writer of the Kid Diamond. he has master acting classes, which he does on Wednesday nights. Forrest Pruitt has the Indie Acting Studio, which he does Monday nights and Thursday nights. Lily Rose Studios downtown, I'm not sure which nights.
Yeah.
Are they Wednesday nights?
Nadia.
Nadia Matthews, exactly.
Matthews, yeah.
Do Wednesday night classes. And, you know, that's a lot of options.
Right.
But we looked around and we thought, okay, Daniel Martine has a lot of experience. And I personally tell anybody, if they actually want to pursue this in the LA market, they need to go through his class just to get an idea of the difference. Because, you know, in classes out in LA, they shut the doors if you're not there.
Pretty much.
There are classes out there, you have to audition for the class.
Right, that's true.
So it's a very different kind of market.
And it's very expensive.
And Daniel and perhaps Corey Parker, although he only does the solo classes, at least as my understanding. Does he? Okay, well, either way, he is someone else who has that experience that you could benefit from before going out that way.
Wow.
In town, I don't know Nadia Matthews very well. I've not seen a lot of the work that's come out of it. I know she had a play a number of years back that she had put together, but I didn't see a lot of work, and I didn't see a lot of actors that were coming out of her class working. Forrest really was the only one that had classes where I saw their actors on screen. And, you know, that was one of the things that connected us originally was the beginning of Dark Corners. And then I'm going in and I'm seeing faces that I've seen in places. So I saw that. Now, I went and I attended his classes for a long time, and we had a very good association. But I felt as active filmmakers, we could bring a different perspective. And by no means do I think that that other classes shouldn't be there.
Right, absolutely.
There are necessary steps every actor needs to take.
Absolutely.
But as active filmmakers, we had a unique ability to teach actors what it is like to actually be on the set, to work with a director.
Which is very important.
Forrest can give them a lot of scene work. Forrest can give them a lot of other information and education. But Forrest isn't an active director. He's a coach, he's an actor, and he's got a lot of knowledge and experience behind the scenes on things. We have actually produced films. So we're trying to show actors, you know, go to classes, then go to sets and see the differences. We're trying to create that bridge.
Right.
And, you know, unfortunately, there's, like, Nadia's classes are the same nights as Daniel's, so people are forced to make a choice. Our class is the same night as one of Forrest's classes, so unfortunately, people are forced to make a choice.
Right.
And that...
Well, you can't please everybody.
You can't, and it's tough, and it's all, you know, there are external factors in all of that. You know, Forrest does Mondays and Thursday nights for a reason. We ended up doing Monday night for a reason, and it was external to our own choices specifically. But it is what it is. Now, it makes it difficult for people to feel that there's unity within the community when they look at it and think there's one competing with the other. It's not meant to be competition.
Exactly. I think at the end of the day, we all have to focus, again, as we said earlier, on our individual business needs.
Yeah.
If your business need call for a class on Monday, then the class is on Monday. I mean, I think that's one of the issues with this town. Is like everything is not a competition.
Well, even stylistically.
Exactly.
There are directors in town which, you know, and I can't think of names off the top of my head, nor would I give them specifically. But Forrest is very laid back, and he lets you do your thing, and he kind of coaches you through. There are directors in town that work like that.
Right.
So going and learning how to deal with someone who teaches and works that way is a good thing. That's not how I work.
Right.
So coming to me to see how I work is a good idea. But that's also not how Jamie works.
Right.
So see him. If you're on a project, that's not going to be how you work. So come see you. So find as many coaches as possible and experience from each of them, because no two directors work the same.
Absolutely.
And you as an actor need to be adaptable.
Absolutely.
You need to know how to communicate
Absolutely.
just as much as I as a director need to communicate to different types of actors. Actors need to be able to deal with different types of directors.
Yeah.
And that was the primary reason for creating a class, was to give them directors' perspectives on their acting, because, you know, Forrest does a great job of bringing in people. But, you know, you bring in one director one week and one director a different week. That's good, because it shows the differences.
Right.
By being focused on with one director for a period of time, and then maybe try another one, you get the kind of experience you get from actually working on a project.
Exactly.
Where you audition with that director.
Right.
Then you work with that director on your part. Then you work with that director on the set. Then you work with that director in any ADR or post-production work they might need you for.
Right.
And then you work with that director in promotions and seeing the product finished. So you spend periods of time working with different groups of people. And I think that the actors need that more and more in this city, too.
Yeah, and I think that also, too, the most valuable tool of an actor, they have to realize how to individualize their personal craft, too, to directors, because what they do provide is obviously a service in a sense, you know, to the directors, to fill these different parts. But it's not necessarily an inventory of service. It's a personalized art. So obviously you do have to figure out how to do that. I mean, if you were, I know when I can remember being in LA, leaving one set, going to another set. Within 2 days, I probably worked with 2 to 3 different directors. Or per day, I was an assistant for 7 casting directors on one team. So that was a lot of work.
And you do have to approach different people differently.
You have to approach, and they were all very differently, night and day. Different backgrounds, beliefs, and it was a real job.
So that was kind of the root of creating our own acting class. And, you know, like everything we do, we attach the word fire, spelling it with a Y, for the, you know, to separate it and give it a reference. But we called the classes Inner Fire because I believe that creative force comes from inside. And we basically design our classes to help the individual become confident and comfortable in the art of creating a character.
Right.
Then, you know, because Jamie and I do work differently, we do these classes together. And we each interact with, you know, our actors, and they get an idea of each of our own styles and our own approaches to things. Then they make a choice and they get up and they perform, and we go from there. And, you know, we're going to bring in different levels of things that most actors in this city, and actually most actors, I don't want to say it like that because we have very talented people.
Right.
Many actors in a lot of the independent market, not just this city, aren't really given the kind of roles where they can stretch.
Right. Right.
You know, one of the downsides of so many people having cameras and equipment is that so many people can make a redundant movie based on the successful one that they're copying.
Right.
You know, for instance, Craig Brewer went out and made Hustle and Flow. The next thing I heard about was 3 or 4 people planning movies in Memphis that had to do with pimps and hookers.
Right.
because it worked. And, you know, that is a tradition with Hollywood, to see something that works and to emulate and, in my opinion, abuse sometimes in perpetuum.
These concepts, yeah.
And saturate. But we want to create a market where our actors are challenged and they're ready to face that challenge. Right. And, you know, Forrest does a great job with his style of class. We do a great job with our style of class. Daniel Martin does a great style with his. I think it's up to the actor to decide, do they want to just do one thing? Do they want to move around? Do they want to jump back and forth between? Personally, I think actors should try different classes.
Personally, I think more than just actors should take classes. I think if you want to direct, if you want to produce, if you want to write.
Well, we've often told people that, and you know, I've heard Forrest himself acknowledge this one, and in fact, I think he's offered some classes for public speakers, just public speakers in general.
Yes, absolutely.
But our acting class is designed to become comfortable and confident in presenting a character. We are all a character in our own right.
Absolutely.
We all act every day of our lives.
I do it at work.
And at no place like work. Bartenders, waiters, they have to act in order to survive because that's how they get their tips.
Right.
And, you know, all of the acting coaches in town, Forrest, Daniel, myself, Jamie, I don't know Nadia personally, we all seem to understand that. And we all recognize that a lawyer who has to present in front of a courtroom, a politician that wants to get elected, a newscaster that's presenting the news, an actor that's going to be on a set. All of these people have to present themselves on some level. We had a student come in, salespeople.
Oh, salespeople, yeah.
We had a gentleman come into our class last week simply because he's shy and he wants to be able to get over that. And we gave him a monologue. And he had some difficulties, so I sat up there with him and said, ignore them, talk to me. And by the end of the class, he said he'd be coming back.
Wow. That's huge.
And that's very huge. The amount of courage it took just to come into a class.
Right.
I mean, there was no one he knew in that class, us included. He got us through word of mouth. So he came in not knowing any of us. I look like I look. Jamie looks like he looks. He was terrified of Jamie. But the way we treated him, the experience he had in that class, he felt a confidence boost. And he felt the desire to come back to that. So you're right, it's not just actors.
Right, you never guess I was actually that person. You know, as a kid, I was a shy kid. And my first acting coach or teacher was a lady in Memphis named Miss Carolyn Gunn. Have you heard of her?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, she has a company, CFA Productions. She was actually the first person that actually taught me anything about acting. And I went from a shy person who never wanted to do anything in front of anybody to end up picking up a major in undergrad in speech communications and theater with an emphasis in mass comm. So that, you know, it is amazing how you can take a simple class and then you turn around later on and you make a total life investment into it.
Absolutely.
Which has led up to kind of what, you know, I'm doing now. So definitely while working on Glowing was kind of that thing that kind of, you know, reignited that whole, you know, passion again. And then it was like another indie film that I got right after that. That I can't remember what it's about. It was an educational film on teenage prostitution. It was like, okay, while those things reignited things, I remember my very first teacher, Carolyn Gunn, I call her my creative mom. Because I literally had to try and explain to my mother every day why it was so important that I go to these classes. Actually, my mom was not feeling it. Her thing was she always wanted me to be an accountant or a lawyer.
Right.
That was her thing.
Well, our parents always want us to succeed and have security.
It was the first time, though, she actually saw me in a play that she cried. And, of course, after that, I kind of had her buy-in. But I remember she would make me, I had to work a job, pay for my own classes, and rent her car to go to class. So in my mind, yeah, that was my experience.
That's dedication on your part, that was dedication, I gotta say.
And yeah, and partially for that, it's kind of a personal story too. With my father being a musician, his life revolved around being a musician. I think it obviously led to them separating at some point.
Right.
So you know, when you're talking about doing something artistically, and it was a big threat to her more than anything. So I think more than anything, she always wanted me to understand no matter what I do or decide that I want to do, I better be serious about it, make a business out of it. So that was really kind of my introduction into it. So this has never been an easy thing for me. It's always been, you know, making a way for myself.
Well, it isn't easy. Like I said, in LA, you're auditioning for classes.
Absolutely.
In LA, you have a job to pay your bills and a job to pay for your acting class.
And classes cost about as much as your rent.
I was going to say, and classes aren't cheap out there. But it's, like you said, with Miss Gunn, Carolyn Gunn, with you, visit different actors or different coaches and teachers because you never know which one at which time. You know, I've read a couple of testimonials, that actors and actresses have written about their experiences in indie acting class with Forrest. I think it was Allison Summers Kelly, that wrote something to the effect of going back to Forrest's classes reignited her confidence and her desire to do it. I believe Candace McGowan had something about going into his classes gave her the spark she needed to reinvest and believe in herself to do something like this.
Yes.
And then on top of that, you know, coming to me, Candace has said I helped unlock certain doors. Marcus Seabury, after hanging him 70 feet in the air and making him confront his fear of heights, thanked me for that.
Wow. So
you never know. I mean, and anytime anybody thanks me for something like that, it's an honor. But from their perspective, they didn't know.
Wow.
They took a chance. They took that job, or they took that coach, and they took that chance, and it led to that change in them. Glowing, you came on that set, and it turned it around for you.
Yes, it did.
So you never know who it is that's going to unlock anything. And with Square Roots Media, you have put yourself in a position to where you can unlock some doors for Rising Fire.
Absolutely.
You can unlock some doors for someone else that might be out there listening. And you know, as we fade out of here, we're going to cut out of here with a music video that my friend or my partner Marcus Ken Hampson shot and that I directed for a young lady named Leela. And we're going to cut out of that. I want to mention that, you know, the support you show us, the support you're willing to show other small productions.
Yes.
We thank you for that. We are honored and we
so
appreciate
much.
it.
I appreciate
We appreciate
everything.
you coming into here.
Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as I look right now, it's almost 5 o'clock. We're going to be ending the show with Leela. I want to ask anybody that's out there, Forrest, if you're watching, anybody else out there that might be near their social networking, Second Light Productions, Jared Callan and Ryan Nichols are shooting some scenes over at the P&H Cafe on Madison Avenue, and they need extras. I believe they start shooting at 5:30. They're going to have live music, and I think they said something about some free food or something like that. Pizza probably. But they need some extras, so if you're watching and you're interested in being an extra, please head out to the P&H Cafe. Forrest, anybody else out there that might be on the network that can reach out to actors, help Second Light out and give them some extras for their shoot. Let's help grow independent film and the arts in this city. Let's create connectivity and unity within our community, and let's turn this into a business and bring people to our city that can back us.
Absolutely.
Thank you for watching. Enjoy. Leela, listen to the words. Thank you, Antoine.
Thank you.
My name is Alex. I wanted to be an actor, but then I got involved in the wrong crowd, the wrong people, made bad choices. I became a bad actor. But then I noticed Rising Fire Productions, and they made me the actor I am today. Since then, I've been able to get auditions and book roles. Thank you, Rising Fire.
If you see the signs of bad acting in yourself or someone you love, please don't wait until it is too late. Call Rising Fire for help today.